What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers, and break down what's going on with the market thus far in terms of earnings that just came out, and some very important levels to be watching for on SPY, Tesla, and all these different tickers. But before I break down all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, guys, now let's break down what's happening to the market. So right now, guys, I'm not feeling the best. I've been very sleep deprived for about 2 nights. The first night I felt pretty much fine, but tonight, in the morning I felt very, very tired. So I do apologize if I sounded a little bit off or a little bit slow. But I just want to mention how the market is looking, if anything. So right now, the market is holding up decently, but we have some more data coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. that could dictate which way the market goes. So I just want to mention that at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the manufacturing numbers from the Richmond Fed, and not to mention the shipments index. We'll see if this helps the market pump even more or not, but watch for volatility at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then at 11:30 a.m., watch for more volatility as the 52-week bill auction is coming out. So watch for volatility at those times. 10 o'clock a.m. will be the most important time to watch for those moves. Now, besides that, we have some more news that's coming out for the markets. Thus far, we're seeing the Dow breaking all-time highs. Even the S&P 500 broke its all-time highs. United Airlines, it basically expects to see financial impacts from the FAA grounding of Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes, and said that in a filing on Monday that it foresees an adjusted loss between 35 cents and 85 cents for its quarter. Not the best of news for them. In terms of Meta's parent company, or Facebook's parent company, Meta, it's made a great effort to get out of the news business. It's actually made a decision to de-emphasize news on the platform, and it came after a series of public relations disasters and other things like that. That's very important. It actually took a look. It's based off like a survey where they looked at many examples of news, and they actually found that there's a lot of changes to be made, and that this is going to lead to a change in their policies. Johnson & Johnson is considered, a very important stock in the health sector, and reported its fourth quarter earnings and actually topped estimates. I'll be breaking more details about this in a minute. And besides that, AI stocks have been very, very hot, especially AMD rose 130% in 2023. We're going to be watching to see if this continues. This is actually making headlines as well. Besides that, guys, now let's break down some earnings real quick. As a reminder, we have for today, we had Verizon, GE, and just a couple of others like Johnson & Johnson. And after the market closes, we have Netflix and a few others. Then tomorrow, which is going to be Wednesday, we have AT&T, not to mention Tesla and IBM. And then on top of that, I just want to mention that Verizon announced its Q4 earnings and actually met expectations for EPS, but it beat on revenue. On top of this, it had very, very strong guidance, which is actually helping this thing push even more. They also had a good amount of subscribers added to it, so that's good news for them. Johnson & Johnson also had good earnings and also topped estimates narrowly, but their overall guidance is still looking relatively strong. That's good news for them, right? That's very, very good news for them. GE, on the other hand, it had decent earnings, but it actually saw a big sell-off after, profit outlook ended up missing. So it had a big, big, big sell-off, and guidance was very weak for it. So kind of mixed earnings overall, more good than bad, if anything. For Tesla, we had the insurance registrations better than expected, so that's some good news for Tesla finally. Hopefully this helps Tesla to some extent. So what's going on with SPY? One of the things that I thought yesterday was that this thing could actually drop a little bit more to fill this gap before we get some kind of bounce, but instead it didn't actually drop that much. It's actually bouncing even earlier than expected as it held support nicely, and it starts starting to look bullish as we're starting to see a nice accumulation right over here. So it depends on if we could break 485. If we do break it, this thing could, in my opinion, get closer to 487s. And if we break above the 487s, our next target is 490. So in my opinion, SPY is showing some life. It looks like it wants to push higher, but this is also going to depend on the economic data at 10 a.m. So watch for volatility at 10 a.m. Let's see if SPY continues through that. Is it going to pump and then start dumping, or is it going to try to break through? It does look like it's going to attempt to break through, but watch it carefully just to be safe. If you want to turn bearish, if this is like a fake move, you want to be watching this, this wick down here. Watch the 482 area. If we lose that, our next target is 480. So watch supports very carefully. But overall, the chart is showing some life. As far as Tesla goes, Tesla is just barely holding support down here. We have a nice potential accumulation structure as well. If we're bearish, you want to see Tesla basically lose these lows around the 207s and eventually 205 and start sinking to the lower 200s. If we're bullish, you want to see it break the 210s and get above 212. If we do break that, we could be pushing back up towards 216 to 217. And if we break that, our next target is going to be the 220s. Now, with good Chinese numbers, there's a good chance Tesla may attempt to go a little higher, especially if the market pumps it. So there's a chance Tesla could try to bounce. But just to be safe, watch and see how the market reacts at 10 a.m. There's still potential for that to pan out. On the QQQ, we're seeing another accumulation, but starting to reject right here at 423.5. If we're really bullish, you want to see it basically continue to break out above this wick. And if we break that, our next target is going to be very close to 425. If we break that, we could be pushing all the way up towards 427. If we're bearish, you want to see it basically lose 421. If it loses that, there's 420. If that fails, it's a bigger drop is coming to 418. It is, excuse me, it is looking like it's trying to accumulate right over here, and it's trying to push up a little higher. Let's see what happens at 10 a.m. if we do get another push. This is attempting to turn bullish, but let's wait and see when the data comes out just to be safe. For Aapl, in my opinion, it's showing some life, but here's the issue with Aapl. We have this tight resistance between 194.4 and 195, so we're going to be watching to see how that ends up affecting it. If we break this 195 resistance, this thing could be pushing all the way up towards much higher levels like 197. If we're bearish, you want to see this thing basically lose support right here at 193. If we lose that, there's 192. And if that fails us, we're going to be sinking all the way down to the lower 190s. In my opinion, this is attempting to fight at 195. It hasn't broken it yet, so watch resistance. There might be an attempt to fight it. As of right now, it's going to range bound, so we'll see if it could break that or not. And then finally, for Nvda, in my opinion, it's just very flat, very, very sideways, getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So it looks like a big move is coming as this thing is getting tighter. If we're bullish, you want to see this thing break the 600 resistance. If it breaks and holds that for an extended period of time, there's 602, 605, and etc. that's coming. 607, 610. If we're bearish, you want to see it lose not just 595, but also 592. If we lose that, a bigger drop is coming to 587. In my opinion, Nvidia is getting tighter. There might be an attempt to break up to the upside, so watch it very carefully. With that being said, thank you all so much for listening. Please have an absolutely incredible rest of the day, and I'll see you guys very, very soon on the next one for now. In terms of how the market is performing, don't forget, big data is coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's also very important to watch your levels. All right. So I just also want to note that I'm going to try to get a lot of rest today. I'll do the best I can to take care of my health. But I just want the best for everyone else out there. And I just want to remind you all, take care of your health, guys. Prioritize that. That is very, very important from the inside and out, especially when it comes to your diet, your rest, and etc. All right, that's it for this one. The market to the moon, because the long term is still incredibly bright. Despite the nuances and short-term fluctuations that we are seeing, the market is still bright for the future. So thank you, take care, and peace out.